All right, guys, today's video, my journey to Islam, okay? Before I get into it, this is going to be a very important video, very personal video, but before I get into it, I want to do a couple shout outs. First of all, shout out to our sponsor, Credzly.com. Credzly.com, it's a fintech company where you can get credit builder loans, rent reporting, credit bureau monitoring, and so much more. So go check them out. Also, I want to remind you guys to scroll down and hit the subscribe button. And also, check me out on all the social media links. I have social media accounts everywhere, so go follow me and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much. We just recently received 100 and something subscribers. And I already made this shout out, but I'll make it again. In order to celebrate, we will be giving out 100 meals to less fortunate people to celebrate the 100 subscribers. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. If you guys want to actually participate and help with this, I've organized food drives before in Pakistan and Indonesia. Hit me up on social media, DM me on Instagram, okay? So, yeah. Also, I have a paid school community, guys, for a specific subset of people. It's basically like I made it for the younger version of myself, right? I was a young guy in my 20s making six figures in corporate, and I really was not satisfied with what I was getting, and I had to learn how to, basically get to the next level. And there's only really a couple ways to do it: entrepreneurship, real estate investing, credit, these type of things, right? If you were in my situation. So I made a whole paid school community on how I was able to achieve my goals. And yeah, so go check that out. You might be a good fit. But let's get straight into it, guys. My journey to Islam, okay? Man, this is personal. I did not think I would be making a video like this so soon, but it is what it is. Actually, this is probably one of the things that I get the most hate on. I get a lot of good comments, a lot of good viewers, but I also get a lot of Islamophobic, prejudice, a-holes that just talk mad crap. And they say the most disgusting things because they don't like Muslim people, for example. But it is what it is. I don't really care. Uh, I don't know why you guys are watching my stuff, but whatever, keep watching. And it's like I used to check the YouTube Studio app, and it would be like blocked comments or whatever, like held by YouTube because they're saying horrible things, like really, really bad things. So I can't even repeat them because I don't want my video to get taken down. So I'm just whatever. It is what it is. It's very, very interesting to see what's going on. But anyways, so I'm 29 years old, guys. I am Pakistani American. I was born and raised in Chicago. Okay, both of my parents migrated here to America from Pakistan, and they're both Muslim. Okay, so I don't have like a revert story or anything like that. I was born Muslim in a Muslim family in a Muslim household, and my parents definitely tried their best with what they could do, and they're amazing parents, and I love them to death, and I'm just so grateful for them. And yeah, like Alhamdulillah for having my parents. And just to kind of give you guys the breakdown, man, when I was young, my parents tried so hard. They tried so hard. Um, so just to kind of give you guys an example here, my mother actually personally taught me how to read the Quran in Arabic, right? And she also used to teach the other kids too in the neighborhood and whatnot. She was very good at it. And also, like my father and my mother both went out of their way to put me in madrasas, which are like schools for Muslim kids and stuff like that, right? Sunday school, even, right? My father would take me to the masjid on Fridays and stuff like that. And yeah, so they definitely tried. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Being in the Pakistani community, there's definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on. But I don't know, man. Like growing up, especially in the Chicagoland area, like I just fell far from it. I definitely was lost for a bit. So I didn't really take Islam seriously, and I didn't really practice much as I got older and I had more freedom. And yeah, I would say that I got, I stopped praying. I was not praying at all. I wasn't reading Quran. I wasn't going to Jummah prayer. I wasn't doing any of the stuff that I should have been doing. Like, for example, the five pillars of Islam, right? You have to take your shahada. You have to declare your faith. You have to do zakat. You have to do salah. You have to pray 5 times a day. That's what that means. Let's see what else. You have to go to Hajj. You have to fast for Ramadan. I wasn't doing that either. And literally, these are like the basic things, right? And yeah, I fell far from it, man. And I was just out here chasing worldly things and trying to be cool and looking up to, I guess, non-Muslim examples. And yeah, a lot of things happened in my life. And I would say it wasn't until I started achieving success, or what I thought would be a success, right? Like, I remember it was so crazy. I just wanted to make money. And that was like my big thing. I just wanted to make money and be cool and get chicks and stuff like that. And then I got older and I got all the things that I wanted, right? Or at least what I thought I wanted. And a lot of these things, for example, partying, getting money, whatever, getting the nice Mercedes, getting the house, getting the Rolex that I always wanted, getting whatever girl I wanted, stuff like that, stuff for the love. But it was so crazy that none of it was actually fulfilling. And it was literally a deep black hole. And whatever I thought was going to make me happy did not fulfill that hole. And that's crazy because that's when I really started getting more into my faith and kind of turning back and having reminders sent to me. It's so crazy because at the end of the day, as Muslims, we believe that, like, if Allah wants you to believe, if Allah wants you to get the message, you'll get it. Because there's also people that will never get it, no matter how much you try to sit there and you explain it to them, they just won't hear it. You know what I mean? So it's truly up to God whether we receive that message or not. So it was so crazy because I went from just not practicing at all and chasing worldly things to getting those worldly things and then realizing that it wasn't everything and that I still felt like an emptiness inside of myself. So the journey back to Islam was very interesting. Okay, let me tell you. I literally had to learn how to pray again. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest with you. We're talking about. I got back into Islam. Like, my interest started peaking about it more. Man, I want to say like 3 years ago, not that long ago. And shout out to Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk. It was his videos that really, like, man, watching that man's videos, he did a whole piece on, like, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He has a whole playlist on Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And, like, literally, man, his videos used to bring me to tears. I'm not even kidding. Um, and I actually went to go see one of his khutbahs and stuff in Chicago when he came. So shout out to him, man. And I got to meet him and tell him, like, hey, your videos got me praying again. Keep doing what you're doing. It's God's work, seriously. And it was so funny because I had forgotten how to pray. And it was so crazy because in the beginning I was praying completely incorrectly, right? And I was still getting my prayers answered. So it just really goes to show that it's not about perfection, it's about intent and it's about effort. You see what I'm saying? But eventually, I was able to teach myself how to pray through YouTube videos, through Google, through the internet. Um, and, now we're talking about years later. Unfortunately, it took years, but for 5 months now, I've been praying 5 times a day, every single day. Of course, I try my best to be on time, but it's not always on time. But there's a thing called kada or kaza, I don't, however you pronounce it, where you can make up for the prayer, right? And so I always get it. I always get it made up within, the same day usually. And it's so crazy because it's like I really had to baby step my way into it. Yeah, so educating myself was huge. And the more I learned, the more beautiful I saw the religion was. And, like, learning about all the different prophets and all the, like, the hardships that they went through and all the stories and stuff like that. And just the message in itself, right? It's just an amazing thing. I am so happy and I'm so grateful. It's also taught me how to become more grateful, right, for everything that I have. And, as I'm continuing, I truly am. I do believe that I'm becoming a better person. I definitely do a lot more for other people. I actually do daily sadaqah as well. Sadaqah is just basically doing something for someone else or even like animals, right? Uh, Helping, right? So every single day I try to do something like that. And mind you, in these last couple of years, a lot has changed in my life. Like, I'm married, I have a wife, I have a baby, right? And I want to become like a good example on my child. And it's, something that me and my wife both were able to get on this journey together. And yeah, like, it makes me just so much more comfortable being a father, having a child in this world. when I myself am a practicing Muslim, right? And I actually try to become better and make the world a better place. I can't even tell you, like, just the peace that it gives me. That's the thing. I was missing peace all these years without Islam. You see what I'm saying? And now that I have Islam in my life and I'm becoming more educated, I'm just going more on that path. By the way, it's crazy. Uh, when was it? I went to Umrah recently too. It was right after my wedding. I was so lucky and fortunate enough to take my wife and my parents to Umrah. It was my first time, it was my wife's first time, it was my father and my mother's first time. And we all went to Umrah together. Like, it's so crazy. Even like money wise, it's changed my perspective too, because at the end of the day, it's so funny because I always thought that I was out here doing it or my job was out here, providing. It's not the case. At the end of the day, in Islam, we believe that like God, Allah, is the Razak, and He's the one giving us the provisioning. You understand what I'm saying? Which is so true because there was multiple times in my life where either I was down bad and I still was able to get by, and when I was younger, even this is something I haven't talked about yet on this story or on this channel, but whatever, it is what it is. I'm an open book. When I was like 13, 14 years old, my dad went to prison and he was the main breadwinner of the household and he went away. And it's not like we just starved to death or anything like that. Um, like we still had food, we still had a roof over our head, we still had clothing, you know what I mean? Everything. Listen, God had us. Like we didn't go without never a day. And it's like as I get older and I reflect on these instances in my life where we had hardships and stuff like that, you know, God was always there, and it wasn't a coincidence, it wasn't luck or anything like that. So I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for the hardships we went through, and I'm so grateful that there was light at the end of the tunnel, and we eventually got out of these hardships and stuff. So I can't even tell you guys, like seriously, I started going to there's a masjid like literally 10 minutes from my house. And I started going for Isha Jama, which is like when you go to the mosque and you pray with everyone. Um it's the last prayer of the day. And I can't even tell you, like I went and I just broke down into tears afterwards. Like I cried so much. It's just, and I'm talking about tears of joy, of course. Oh man, I wish the same for you guys. Seriously, like there is something with spirituality and faith that you just can't get with anything else in this world, and it's just brought me so much peace that like it is what it is. Whatever happens in life, it was meant to be, and God's never going to burden us with anything that we cannot handle. You understand what I'm saying? And it gives more meaning. Like, why are we here? What happens when we leave? For example, I have parents that are very old, and it it actually gives me peace. Like I don't really see myself being lost after they pass from this world because I know we'll be all reconnected again. In paradise. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's so crazy, and it's so sad. It's so true, and it's so sad that we don't really take religion seriously or anything like that. Like Muslims, I know this is such a pandemic with Muslims, but when we're younger, we don't care. And we always kind of push it off like, oh, when we get older, when I'm older, I'll take it seriously, right? Because you want to have fun and you want to chase your vices and you want to get chicks, you want to get money, you want to do this, you want to do that. And it's like, I remember, in the beginning, it was fear based where you didn't want to do this and you didn't want to do that because you don't want to go to hell. But then you get to a point where like you actually do it out of love for God, and you abstain from certain things. Really, to be honest with you, most things in this world it's halal. You can do. It's a couple things here and there that are haram and that you're not supposed to do, right? And if you're a good person, it's like, it's not that hard, to be honest with you. Obviously, baby stepping into it. Mind you, guys, I am not a imam. I'm not a sheikh. I am nobody special. Literally, I'm covered in tattoos. By the way, that's how unserious I was about Islam. I know it's haram. Okay, I was very young when I got my tattoos, and we're talking about literally these tattoos are so old that I have, and I'm a grown man now. And 3 years ago when I got back into Islam, I wasn't getting any more tattoos. And yo, let me tell you something. Actually, that's a good point. That's a good segue. Wow. I feel like religion has such a bad rep these days because people that judge, oh my God, it's so crazy. I cannot tell you how many people have straight up told me, oh, you're going to hell, your prayers don't count, or any of that stuff, which is the craziest, most uneducated thing you could say as a Muslim to someone else. First of all, only God and Allah decides who gets to go to heaven or hell, period. You could do everything right and God could still say, nope, you're not getting in here. All right, whether you like it or not, you are not the judge. Okay, you are literally the creation. You're not the creator. Only the creator gets to judge who gets to go where and what. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to be honest with you. I truly, deep down, believe in the bottom of my heart that God has forgiven me for getting tattoos and stuff like that, and whatever else I might have done in the past. Okay, because I've repented and I've changed my ways, right? And I'm on the right path, and I'm trying, man. And that's the other thing I was going to say. There's people that sit there and know more than me and act like a know-it-all and come off the way they come off and like try to think that they're above you, right? Because they have been practicing longer than you or whatever the case may be. But it's like it's so crazy because I just started taking Islam seriously a couple of years ago. I've already been to Umrah, and I already put systems in place where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, praying 5 times a day, doing zakat, stuff like that, charity, this and that. And these people have, been Muslim for forever, like whatever, never like were, never fell off the track, I guess, or the path, and still have yet to do any of these things. Stingy, not going to Umrah, not going to Hajj, not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Just, it's so crazy because, I go to the masjid every single day, and these people barely go, or if they do, it's like on Fridays, and they want to sit there. But I don't want to rant too much about this. The point that I'm trying to make is you don't get into Islam to impress anybody. Okay. You don't get into it to, it's not an ego thing. Genuinely, I'm not going to lie to you. Now, I used to go to Friday prayer in a group. I stopped doing that because I like to go alone so I can cry in the car, man. Because I get real deep and spiritual with this stuff. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I cry all the time. And these are tears of joy. Trust me, there's nothing bad happening in my life. I'm so grateful. And I genuinely break down in tears. I like to cry in the car after I get done praying, after I leave the masjid. I would totally do it in the masjid. And there has been times where I couldn't control it, but I don't want to freak people out or whatever. Like, because what the thing is, the brotherhood is pretty amazing because if I did cry in the masjid, everyone would ask me what's going on, what do I need, how can they help? You know what I mean? And it's like, trust me, I'm good. I don't need anything. Alhamdulillah. Like, but yeah. So the point is if you're gonna do this, just keep in mind that you're doing it for you. And I had to learn that lesson recently. Like, yes, there's a brotherhood and there's all this and that, but to be honest with you, the peace that I get when I go alone and there's no socializing or anything like that, and I'm just in and out doing my thing, and like I get to cry when I want to cry, and I get to talk to Allah. Um, it's just amazing. I'm seriously so grateful. Um, Mind you, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I think it's no coincidence that I was definitely extreme off the deep end where I just stopped practicing and like, you know, didn't really care or anything like that. It was just so insignificant to me. And like I said, don't blame my parents. My parents tried everything and they remained, you know, loyal to their faith this whole time and everything like that. And as I get older too, it's so crazy because I'm like, wow, your parents and adults and stuff like that, like we're all still figuring everything out, and that never really changes. I don't think. Like you're never gonna know everything. You're never gonna solve everything. But man, there's like this peace that I get with Islam, and especially now, guys. By the way, I don't speak Arabic. I speak English, obviously, and Urdu. But recently I went and I had to get a Arabic tutor again to learn how to read Arabic, so I could read the Quran in Arabic. And because I had forgotten all these years, I didn't really open the Quran. So I went and got a tutor. Once I'm actually really close to being able to read it by myself again. And once I get that down, I will be getting a Arabic speech tutor where I can actually speak and understand and conversate and stuff like that. But in the meantime, what I have been doing is I talked to ChatGPT, and I basically did a prompt where I was like, hey, look, I was born and raised in the Midwest in Chicago, Illinois. Um, I speak English. I speak some Urdu, but English is the main language that I'm most comfortable in. Can you please help me with the tafsir of the Quran? And like every single day, it'll like shoot out 20 verses from the Quran in English, so I could actually get like the tafsir of it. And like it'll talk about all these different prophets and all these stories and all these battles and all this and that, and like I'm able to go further and like open up a new chat and ask about that. And oh man, it's just amazing. That's my journey to Islam so far. There's plenty more journeying to go, and I'm just so grateful. And listen, I'm going to tell you something. The most beautiful thing about Islam is that this is a guidebook. This is like literally a guide on how to life, how to do anything in life, business, family, relationship, fatherhood, motherhood, whatever the case might be, hardship. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my journey, and it's like the greatest gift that I have a guide, right? And I have belief on what's going to happen after, why we're here in the first place, and everything like that. And yeah, I'm in my test, man. I'm living my test, and I'm passing it. So that's the video, guys. Hope you guys liked it. If you guys like if you guys like this type of content, let me know in the comments. And yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe, please. Go hit up all my social media accounts. Give me a follow, shoot me a DM. Also, shout out to our sponsor, Credzly.com. And also scroll down, check out my paid school community. Thank you guys so much for watching.